At this point, I think it's pretty safe to say that The Acolyte is probably one of the worst shows that was ever made by Disney. And all you have to do is just go and take a look at the audience score. 14%. That is freaking low. And that audience score is far more important than the critic score, because TVs and movies are made for the audience and not the critics. But because we live in current year, and anytime somebody doesn't like a TV show or a movie, it gets labeled as review bombing by the access media. But that's how it works. If you don't like something, you leave a bad review. Much like if you like something, you leave a positive review. But no one goes around saying, oh, it's being love bombed. But this darling of the access media is probably not going to be seeing a season 2. And if it does, that's going to be absolutely hilarious, because Disney's going to continue to go and toss money on top of this giant bonfire that is their failures. Now, during a recent interview with Entertainment Weekly, former Harvey Weinstein personal assistant Leslie Headland had this to say. Something that I've noticed is the first season will end on what should have been breaking into Act 2. It feels like everyone's really expecting their show to get a second season, and I don't feel that's a good idea. Then she added, I threw everything into season 1 because who knows what's going to happen. Despite Headland being unsure if the show gets renewed for a second season, she did inform the outlet that she has 4 or 5 major mysteries she would like to explore if it does. Now, with a reasonable degree of certainty, based off of this score right here, like I said, this is the most important score, I don't see that happening. The best way of putting it is I'm pretty sure that Leslie Headland girl bossed way too close to the sun and caught Star Wars on fire, and now it's crashing back to Earth like a meteor strike. The show is awful. The plot is stupid, and the writing is simply just terrible. Now, Disney has made a lot of very poor decisions over the last 12 years after purchasing Lucasfilm, and they have done a significant amount of brand damage, but this show simply doesn't help. It goes and retroactively destroys almost everything that George Lucas has gone and created. So, do I think Kathleen Kennedy will be picking up the phone and calling Leslie Headland to get a season 2? No, I don't. As a matter of fact, this might actually severely damage her career. Just look what happened to J.J. Abrams. What has he made since the rise of Skywalker? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, could that also happen to former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein, Leslie Headland? It's a possibility. I guess maybe only time will tell. But yeah, I would say she probably deserves it, because she went and took a bad situation and just amplified it up to 140%. And comparatively, Disney has put out a lot of garbage around Star Wars, but this is simply the worst. And the way we can really determine how awful the show is to go and take a look at the ratings. Now, the first 2 episodes of the show only received 11.1 million global views for the first 5 days of the first 2 episodes. Now, the way they go and calculate a view is they take the total stream time and divide it by the run time of the show. And so far, what we've seen globally minutes viewed, it's only received 820 million minutes. And that is 9 million minutes less than the Ahsoka series. And the Ahsoka series was also pretty bad. In comparison to The Mandalorian, it massively underperformed. Now, these numbers we have here is coming from the Luminate Streaming Originals. And The Acolyte is number 9 on this list. It's actually being beaten out by 3 seasons of Bridgerton. Now, I'm not going to do a full review of episode 5. Quite frankly, I don't think it's worth it. The last 2 episodes were certainly not the worst of the bunch, but it's a pretty freaking low bar, let's be honest. And in this episode, we finally get the reveal of who Darth Zippers is, and it's discount Asian Ezra Miller. And quite frankly, I thought they were going to at least milk this for another episode. I thought we were going to be getting a flashback, which we did not. Surprise, surprise. And it turns out the leaks were actually true. And pretty much at this point, I'm not sure where they're going to go and take the series. At the end of episode 5, we have May and Osha switching places. And the thing I find so dumb about it is that in a world where we have Jedi and they can basically sense disturbances in the Force, well, it just seems like none of them can figure this out. So May ends up leaving with Master Saul, and he doesn't detect the fact that it's not Osha, it's indeed May. It's ridiculous. And what it comes down to is this is absolutely poor writing and not understanding the powers of the Force. And the fact that in episode 4, when Darth Zipper shows up, and Saul could have been like, oh yeah, you're that dude from the apothecary shop. You know, because that's something Jedi can do. They can recognize a presence. This is something that Darth Vader did with Obi-Wan Kenobi in the original Star Wars movie. Also, how the hell did Darth Zippers hide the fact that he was force sensitive from the Jedi? This is something that should have been explained, but it's not. Now, I'm gonna go and close this video out from this quote from Az from Heel vs. Babyface. The Acolyte attempts to operate on the function that the characters are even more stupid than the writing of the story, and hope that the audience is even more stupid than both of those, which is a pretty accurate statement in my opinion. Anyway, folks, that is my take. What is yours? Do you think that this is the worst Star Wars TV show ever created? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, go and click subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.